Coming up on this episode of the runningrestaurants.com podcast, I speak with Brendan Sweeney, CEO and co-founder of Popmenu. Now, as you know, I absolutely love talking about marketing and tech, and we get into some good stuff in this one for sure. Stay tuned. Hey, it's Jamie here from runningrestaurants.com. With restaurants, unexpected expenses are always right around the corner. Broken equipment, extra overhead during slow times, you name it. There are times when you need cash fast, and that's why I want to tell you about Zinch. They're a direct lender that makes financing fast and simple. If your restaurant is doing over $10,000 in monthly revenue and has been in business for over 6 months, Zinch can fund up to $250,000 in less than 2 days. Just fill out a simple online application and see how much cash you can get with Zinch. Right now, my listeners can apply without fees. That's a $250 value. So go to financingthatworks.com today. Again, that's financingthatworks.com. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California finance lender's law license. All right, folks, welcome to the runningrestaurants.com podcast, where we bring you the tips, tools, and techniques you need to make your restaurant more profitable and successful. I'm your host, Jamie Oikel, and today we've got a great episode for you with Brendan Sweeney, who is the CEO and co-founder of Popmenu. Welcome, Brendan. How are you, man?
Thanks, Jamie. Appreciate it. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Good. And we just talked briefly before we started, and I said, if I were to do anything in restaurants, it's wear that marketing hat. And that's what you guys do. So I'm looking forward to our talk. For folks that may not know the brand yet, give the quick commercial, quick intro.
Right. It gets harder and harder each year. We add more and more functionality and capabilities, but essentially the basis of Popmenu, why we started it and why we continue to do it is we just feel like there's never been great technology tools for restaurants when it comes to acquiring and engaging customers. And it's, as the digital world's gotten so complex, but also so necessary to engage, it's been something that restaurants have been challenged with and haven't had a great solution. And so our idea is, instead of a typical restaurant having 10, 15, tools, pieces of software, freelancers, agencies, et cetera, like how about one login, one tool, one support path for as many marketing functions as possible, in addition to ordering and some more kind of logistical pieces. And so we're really about, especially for independents. I mean, we were built for independents because we felt like they had the least amount of tools available to them.
That's right.
But we're really just about helping restaurants in a simpler way that's more under their control. That's a first party tool, not a third party platform to get more butts and seats, to get more orders, and to do it in a way that gives them time back, because the complexity of approaching, digital for a restaurant is just as painful as the cost of it. So we're here to help on both of those fronts.
Yeah, there's a graphic on your site that I really, really like that shows the sort of life cycle of the of the interactions, and the reason I like it is because you could do different pieces of it, but if you miss a piece here or there, the pattern really goes away. So talk about how you guys kind of end to end are there for that process. What do you think?
Right. And also, all of those different pieces, that kind of hodgepodge that I described that most restaurants use to market, they're not connected. It is the other piece. It's the only modern businesses. That's this way. I've been doing internet product for 25 years, and, enterprise and kind of more already modernized businesses when it comes to, marketing and kind of front of house. They all have these tools where it's all in one. And where that's especially important is having one singular view of your customer, whether they came in from Google search, whether they came in from a Facebook ad, whether they've ordered with you or not before, whether they've ordered on-prem or off-prem, et cetera. The importance of all of that being in one place gets greater and greater every day as restaurants are going to be challenged more and more to compete with other restaurants, especially as I feel like the industry is getting more and more savvy. You have to know your guest well. I mean, people have been talking about it since, we've been doing this for 6 years. Everyone's talked about how important it is to know the customer. No one seems to know what the hell that actually means or how to take action on it. And so for us, all of that wheel and all of the pieces in the wheel, whether that's your website, whether that's being integrated with Google My Business, whether that's emailing, texting, social, whether that's ordering, again, on-prem or off-prem, having all those touch points in one place means that you have this unbelievable perspective on the guest that can then be utilized to make more and more efficient marketing communications. One thing that's been true of the restaurant industry forever, and is still true, is we're really bad at, not we being Popmenu, but the industry overall are really bad at segmenting, audiences for marketing messages, and then giving them a message that's really tailored to activate them. It could be someone who hasn't ordered from you in 30 days. It could be someone who loves a specific burger you have, et cetera. In general, the marketing that restaurants do is extremely basic, extremely one size fits all. It's extremely spammy. It's like, I'm just going to keep messaging this customer over and over and over until they come back in. Well, with us, everything is more personalized. Everything is more automated. And so what you have is these smarter messages going out that don't overwhelm people, and they speak directly to, the things that they're interested in or their attributes. And so that's why it's so important to have a tool like this where it's all in one, because again, the time and the cost of cobbling together an email tool, a social tool, a website, this and that, it pales in comparison to the lack of understanding on a holistic basis of who these customers are and what's the best way to get in front of them.
Yeah, I was just the last part there. I was like, I know I have a book here that I wanted to find. So I had to take my headphones off for a second, but this book goes way back. But it's called Hug Your Customers, and this was really before even a lot of the tech you could do. But the idea of it is really powerful in that it talks about a tailor shop, but they knew who their best customers were, and they knew what they liked, what they wanted, and so forth. And when you do that, it makes a big difference. And if you were to go into any restaurant and say, who are your top 20 customers, they may say, they may start rattling off some names, but then the data kind of is like, it's mushy in the background, what they actually like and what they, and how to market to them and so forth. And now technology can do all those things in the background, and it's really powerful. So that aspect of knowing your customer is super, super, super getting more and more important. I want to talk about, I read somewhere on your site, PDFs, and when I hear Popmenu, I think maybe you started with menus in your mind, and there was frustration with PDF menus on websites, as I did. I've been in this for 20 plus years now, where that's how restaurants started. They pop their copy of their menu, boom, put it online. It's hard to look at, hard to change, didn't make sense. And I know that's a big focus for you guys. Let's go there for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, the idea originally came out in 2014. And even then I was like, what? I mean, I built small business websites well over 20 years ago, and some of them were restaurant websites, and they had PDFs then. I understand why, as someone who does design. It's like, well, you did the PDF to do the print version, and just throwing the PDF, up onto the website, it's kind of just the easiest, quickest way to do it. But even back in 2014, I remember just comparing multiple restaurants and saying, hey, where are we going to have this, like company dinner or company event or whatever? And I was like, why am I looking at text? Every other business that's out there, I have photos and I have reviews and I have ratings, I have social validation, I have all this criteria to use to make the decision. But here it's just text. Well, what does that lead to? Going to a restaurant, I might hear about a restaurant, go to their website, see a PDF text menu and say, that's interesting. Now let me go to Yelp, TripAdvisor, OpenTable, and look at pictures and look at reviews to see if this is the right decision to make. I mean, the insight that started us was just, hey, that should all be in one place and it should be under control of the restaurant. And so I think, PDF is just an example of how restaurants have just kind of Band-Aids and rubber bands patched together a digital experience. This thing was already made. It was suitable for print. I'm just going to put it on my website. But then you lose so much, I just talked about all the criteria people want, but it's also terrible for indexing and search engines. It's not good at all on phones. And at the time in 2014, it was when we were massively moving to mobile and near me searches. And I just thought, this is going to change. And so a lot of this is just, hey, the restaurants should have the same tools that retail has, that e-com has. There's no reason not to have those tools, not just for ordering, but for marketing. The menu is the most important asset that a restaurant has. It should be treated with that kind of respect. It should be treated with that kind of, Yeah, love even. And so what we did was from day one, we built a menu experience that functions like a modern e-commerce multi-step, multi-call to action funnel. That's a lot of words. What does it mean? While you're browsing a menu, even if you're not ordering, it means you're getting more information. But also we're providing prompts for the guest who's browsing to share a bit about themselves too. Yes, I do want to be part of your VIP club. Yes, send me offers, things like that. But also the dishes you click on and view, we store that about you so that we know which things you're considering. What have you ordered? We store that. What do you review? What do you share? All these different things make your profile, and that makes it easier, for the restaurant to know, hey, how best can I reach you to get you in here once and to get you in here again and again. And so really the difference between, I think there are some basic differences that we can obviously infer from consumers, with PDF versus like a dynamic experience. And it's okay, text is not great. I don't get pictures, this and that. But even for the business, it's just a deeper understanding of, well, who is this person, and how can we put the things they're looking for in front of them faster? And really, we've all been trained by Amazon on it, and I talk about that a lot, where it's, Amazon knows so much about you, and it can be creepy. And we try to kind of balance this off, where it's not, hey, just know everything and send creepy messages to guests. But there are some things that are reasonable to know and reasonable to use to put, kind of more desirable dishes in front of people. That's what the dynamic experience allows. It just opens up this world of marketing that's more akin to what modern retail and modern e-com do.
Yeah. Amazon comes up quite a bit, and we're big customers here and ordering all the time, and they do a great job with recommendations, right? Yeah. And God, it was a recent interview, but we talked about that aspect of making recommendations based on previous uses, and restaurants definitely aren't doing that very well now. But that's where things are heading. You talked about photos. You talked about the dynamic stuff, the texture, the SEO. It really. If you were to go back and think about even websites, what are you seeing restaurants do really well on websites these days that maybe they haven't done well in the past? And I talked about this over the years, and people have made mistakes as simple as not having their phone number, not having their address on their main page, things of that nature. I don't see that as much anymore. But what if you were to say to a restaurant, what are the few checkpoints that you really want to have on your site these days? What do you think?
I think the company's called Popmenu, or this way, and it's all about the menu to me. I think the biggest mistake people still make, like the biggest mistake before, was not keeping info up to date, and that could be your menus, could be your limited time offers, it could be your pricing, etc. Like anything to do with, you have to think about your menu as your inventory, and it's what do I have on offer now? And people just expect inventory to be real time. You don't go on Amazon and order something and then they're like, just kidding, it's not here, or just kidding, it's $50 more. Right. And so keeping the info up to date now it's been table stakes for a while, but that's less of a problem. I think the biggest problem now is people understanding what is the website for. And so one of the things that we run into, and companies, taking on the same challenge as us or our competitors run into, is you will talk to an owner who's like, hey, that site, my brother doesn't like it. He doesn't like how that looks, and I want to feel better about what my brother thinks. And it's like, form follows function. This thing is a capture point, that you are using to get more business in. And you have to understand that consumers don't care. They don't care what colors, there's definitely an aesthetic component of it. We have some beautiful sites that look incredible and definitely differentiate, but the basics are, do you have your information in front of people, and are you capturing information right to contact and personalization that will help you make a marketing flywheel? That's what the website's there for. And so I feel like we're helping educate the market on this form follows function idea, and that this is more of a CRM than it is a business card online. And so I don't think it's a mistake. I just think it's something where the industry hasn't been educated on that approach. And again, when you talk about retail and e-com and really modernized businesses, they all operate in that way, right? So I don't think it's a mistake. I just think it's part of the evolution of the industry that's going on right now, is that people need to understand. And not only is the website not the endpoint, it is just a component of this overall platform that you use to maximize digital and get as many butts and seats as possible.
Yeah. I also look at it like from the online marketing, the online ordering piece, right? So if I'm on my phone and I'm using the website to navigate, it really does have to work, because I will bail out very quickly, especially on my phone. I'm much more patient on the desktop because there's more space. But then, so let's talk about online ordering, and I'm sure that piece has become more and more important for you guys over the last 2 years. I'm just speculating where the COVID hit in and the need for it popped up. And maybe it's not something that was originally in your mind when you guys started. Maybe it was just develop menus, and then people have started pull you towards that. Is that what happened, or and what are you learning most about online ordering?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're coming up on 3 years of since the start of the craziness, right? And right. We had ordering way later in the roadmap, and I thought that that piece of digital was way better covered than what we were doing, which was really more marketing. I mean, it's way more involved digitally. You're integrating so many different kind of channels, things like that. I was more of the mindset that, hey, while there's ordering's covered pretty well, all of these other ways of reaching people are not covered well. Let's go there. Mm-hmm. Maybe I don't like to compete. I was like, let's go do stuff that less people are doing. But then COVID hit, and then the first thing that happened was our communication tools became way more important. And that was really evidenced. I can think of, it's almost 3 years ago in the next couple of weeks, like maybe it was the 13th, 14th of March, something like that.
Yeah, that's right. I always remember right before St. Patrick's Day is in my head. It's like, there was this nervousness, like if we let people party on St. Patrick's Day, it's going to be a nightmare. And perhaps that was true, but that's what always sticks in my head. You're right.
I will always remember that St. Patrick's Day. I expressed my Irishness heavily that day. It was definitely an intense time. Mm-hmm. But the mandates came down and people had to shut down. And we found that just our clients didn't know what to say. What are you, mm-hmm. What are you saying to your customer base, and how, and what's legal? It's like, it's just tricky. And so we had built in, great simplistic emailing tools that allowed you to message your entire customer base all at once. People didn't know what to say. And so we put a template in that basically covered everything about COVID. And we preloaded it and said, hey, this is there for you. You can just send it out to your entire follower base, or you can adjust it for your area or your restaurant. We put that in, and in one day, we had more emails sent than any previous month combined. And so, and so with that open, so the start was, hey, communication is going to be way more important. Are we open? Are we not? Are we doing takeout? Are we not? Do we have family meals? Do we have toilet paper? With our family meals, what's going on there? So the communication tools were really important, but then instantly, I mean, again, our client base was, is and was even more so at the time, independent full service restaurants, a lot of mom and poppers, like, what am I supposed to do now? And getting on ordering, I mean, we can rewind to the beginning of 2020, the State of the Industry report from the Restaurant Association said 37% of restaurants were doing off-prem of any kind at that point. Like, can you mm-hmm. imagine? 37%. And so a lot of people were like, I don't even know how to do online ordering. And so our fantastic team that's way smarter than me said, we need to build ordering, and we're going to put everybody on it. And we did it for 2 weeks. And then we launched March 27th, 2020, got our first orders, and we've added ordering clients every single month since then. It is still kind of a smaller part of our business. We're still more focused on the attract and engage, but the transact piece is part of it now. And so for me, being, I feel like there's a million ways you can get online orders, through your own site. And I'm not one of those, like, I don't think third-party platforms are evil, this and that. Sure, they're self-interested, and sure, they can make things hard for the owners. I think if you're really smart in how you use it, and if you see it as an acquisition channel, not an operational channel, mm-hmm. hey, I can get new people through here, but then from then on, they're going to order through my tool, and it's going to be better economics for us. Yeah. I love that approach, and I think the most savvy operators do it that way. I think of it as just tremendous for engagement and for, remarketing. It's as soon as somebody orders with you, you know so much more. And then you can use that information to tailor, personalized marketing. And real quick, like I keep talking about personalization of marketing and things like that. Like, it's not something that the restaurants should have to do themselves. We should be doing it. We have over 10,000 restaurants on our platform. We have 30 million consumers engaging with our restaurant websites in a month. We should know what should be sent out. You shouldn't have to, as an operator, deal with that. It's a big principle for us. Is like, when I talk about getting this information for personalization, it's not like, okay, now go get a slide ruler and a spreadsheet and figure out who you're sending what when. Like, we should be doing that for you. So I think having the ordering plugged in with the marketing piece, making this holistic flywheel, is what I'm most excited about on ordering. And then, of course, everything we already really know from COVID. Hey, if you can't have people in the building, you can stay alive as a business. When you are allowed to have people in the building, it can be a really nice income stream, as long as it's managed the right way. And that's not just signing yourself over to a platform. It's really being strategic about it.
Yeah. Question for you, and maybe you don't have to know the right answer to this, but you mentioned back 3 years ago that 37% figure, and we talked briefly before today about a new report coming out. Is that number? Do you think the number is 100% now? Is it 90%? I mean, pretty much everybody has had to figure out how to do takeout and delivery. Is that fair?
That's fair. I saw the number yesterday and I didn't memorize it yet, but I think it's like 80 something percent. I want to say that's what's in the restaurant report. I mean,
right.
It's hard to say, like, how could anybody be doing no off-prem, but I'm sure there are just some situations. I mean, there are some super high-end, fine dining, especially the multi, course, tasting menus, things like that. Some people are like, no, I'm not putting this in a package. So, but man, it's more than doubled, and nothing has ever more than doubled in a 3-year period in the restaurant space. So
yeah, it's table stakes. You have to do it. You have to do it well. Any quick tips you would share with folks to do it well, whether it's in an upsell on the app, whether it's making recommendations while they're already online ordering. One of the things, and you can think about it for a second, but one of the things that you need to realize, when someone has decided to dine with you, whether it's in person or not, they're there. They're a captive audience now. They're willing to spend. So now, not to be greedy, but how can we extract more out of them? Whether it's another beer, another wine, another set of fries, a dessert. Like, they're about to give you their money. How much more of it can we get? It's an important piece. So, any tricks you've seen digitally to capture more dollars?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, what you're describing with the cross-selling and upselling and kind of recommending pairings and stuff, like, the technology should be taking care of that for you. When it comes to the actual ordering user experience, you can make some decisions on what's being included, as a recommended dish. And I think if you're recommending something with everything, because you're doing that in the restaurant anyway, right? Like, it's like on-prem, your front of house is saying, oh, this is great with this, et cetera. Like, you should certainly mimic that conversation in the ordering path, but the mechanism for doing it should be built into the technology. I think, honestly, the biggest thing is super simple. It's just utilize that contact data you got from ordering, utilize the personalization data you got from what did they order, and make better marketing messages based on that to get them back. And so in the moment of the order, there are some things that are really just basic e-com practices. Again, we could go back to Amazon. How much stuff have you added on that you didn't know you wanted? I mean, a ton. I guess I will get the cable for this thing that I bought, and I guess I will get these filters and this whatever batteries. That stuff will happen as a matter of course. I think again, replicating the server conversation so that you're recommending things that could be novel or could be interesting to the customer is important. It's the basics, though. It's, you ordered from me. That means you know me, and that means I'm going to stay in touch with you and use what I know about you to get you back more and more. That's I think one thing for sure that I saw early on in really when we started the business was, restaurants have been sold a lot of different stories about technology and about marketing, and most of the stories are, it's really complex. You need to let me handle it. You need an expert, you need a bunch of tools, you need this and that. Man, it's simple, it's simple. And keeping it from being this crazy high-minded thing where you're like, well, let me think about my tone for 5 months. Let me think about my personality, my persona that I want to express. It's like, It's simple. It's food. People want to see that food and they want to understand why it's different, which usually just involves seeing it. And then they want to hear from you and see it again. And it doesn't have to be complex. Like our most successful marketing messages are pictures of food, especially something new, limited time offer, whatever. They want offers for sure of all kinds. One of the quickest, easiest tools. So when I talk about reviews, we capture reviews on a first party basis. So at every single dish in every menu on Popmenu, you can review that dish. And we deliver those directly to our clients, in the Popmenu for Owners app, and they can respond, directly, which is great. Especially if it's a bad experience, if you respond immediately, it's not going to Yelp or, other third-party platforms. But you can also choose to display it on the dish, to help sell that dish. But one of the most effective marketing tools is just share that review. It's just, you're getting these first party reviews, just push that out. I mean, we make it really easy in our tool to push great reviews out to social, but if you're showing people offers and dishes and reviews and you're doing it once or twice a week, you're going to be in great shape. You're going to really maximize, visibility. And now we're excited because in the coming months, we're going to be releasing more and more features that really have to do with ROI. Mm-hmm. ROI, not just on the platform, what you're spending with Popmenu, but the components of it. And so emails and texts that are happening. Well, what direct orders did that lead to? And how much? And what indirect or inferred orders did that lead to? And that's going to get better and better over time. But the reason I bring it up is we see a very clear and direct correlation between marketing views and ordering volume. And I know that as marketers, that's just makes sense to us. I think because we haven't had ROI data in the space, there are plenty of people who doubt. It's just like, okay, we did a social campaign. I don't have any way of knowing if it did anything, so I'm going to assume that it didn't. Or one person came in and told me they saw this campaign, so I'm going to assume that it really worked. Well, now we're putting more and more ROI data in place, so you can see.
It's important.
But really, the message there is marketing impressions equal an increase in volume. How many impressions does it take? Well, I mean, there's variability there. What kind of restaurant are you? What kind of market are you in, et cetera. But really just being simply visible and putting, the things that are unique about your business in front of the people who already like your business on a nice pace. It's no magic wand.
Yeah. You're exactly right. You hit a lot of good points there. There's so much more we can cover. I want to dig into some more of this stuff, so I want to invite you back. You talked about 10,000 restaurants. That must mean they're everywhere. So talk about your geographic coverage. Can folks reach you guys from anywhere? What's the best place to go? Your website? Is there an app? Is there a download? Send them where you want. What do you got?
Yeah, get.popmenu.com is the place to go. And I mean, we're everywhere. It doesn't matter. Huge markets, small markets, villages, we've got some of the highest end full service restaurants on. We've got sports bars, we've got boba tea, we've got food trucks. It works for everything. And the best thing I can say is just come and get a demo, because it's really hard to describe. There's so much in there. And as we put more and more in, it becomes harder to just say, it's just this. And it used to be just websites, but websites just one component of an overall digital strategy. And I think if you come to getpopmenu.com, sign up for a demo. We're not going to push you super hard. You just see it. And generally when people see it, they buy it. Because it's just a great investment. It's a reduction in cost. It's a reduction in complexity. It's a reduction in time you have to spend on the topic. But it's keeping you in front of and capturing more and more of, the people who can just grow your business.
Yeah, it's a great collection of tools. I spend time on the site and I'm going, oh man, to add that and just knowing what I know from the past that those all used to be separate pieces and you had to manage them separately and the nightmare that involved. And so knowing you can get it all in one place is a big win. So I appreciate digging in today, folks. That was Brendan Sweeney of Popmenu. You can find them on the web at popmenu.com. For more great restaurant marketing and service and people and tech tips, stay tuned to us here at runningrestaurants.com. We'll see you soon. Thanks, Brendan.
Thanks a lot, Jamie. Appreciate it.
Thank you again for joining us for this episode of the runningrestaurants.com podcast. Please, if you would, do me a big favor and hit the like button on this show. And please subscribe or favorite us in your podcast platform to get future episodes. We'd also very much appreciate your feedback or review of the show. If you would share that, it'd be great and a big, big help to us. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.